Are we ready? The technical team is ready. Our contestants are ready. We're all tested. And let's kick off the show with Edwin Spee, the chairman of Mentelity, of the Mentelity Foundation. He'll be digging deep into leadership. And his title today is It's All About Mentality. Edwin, are you ready?
Ready as SB.
All right, Edwin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. How can we stay happy and positive no matter what happens in our lives? It's January 19, 2018, and I'm walking through the streets of Leiden. It's raining, but I don't care. I'm not here to buy anything. I'm just here killing time. I'm killing time because my wife is in surgery. Now, the surgery should have taken about 6 hours, but it's already 8 hours ago when I saw the specialist take her into the OR. And the longer it takes, the more I keep looking at my watch. And the longer it takes, the more I wonder if we made the right decision. You see, I was married to Bibian Mentel, a Paralympic snowboard champion, and this operation was not supposed to be about life and death. It was a well-planned operation, so Bibian could keep following her passion. Cancer had destroyed her neck vertebrae, and she inspired her specialist to replace it with a titanium construction. Why? To be back on her snowboard to defend the gold medal at the Paralympic Games. Only 2 months later. As I pass by a kiosk, I see a newspaper with a picture of Bibian and the headlines called Sports Madness with the question, isn't it time to stop? You see, this was not the very first operation. In the last 15 years, she had to deal with recurring cancer no less than 21 times. Bibian's body was subjected to 1 leg amputation, 5 lung operations, 7 spinal surgeries, and 122 irradiations. And although I knew that mentally she could handle anything, I knew her body was exhausted, and there was a serious chance she would not make it through the surgery. I look at my watch, 9 hours already, and I ask myself if the journalist was maybe right. Isn't it time to stop? But deep down inside, I know it's not about me. It's about Bibian following her passion. And she already proved everybody wrong so many times. Like when her leg was amputated, the specialist told her she would never snowboard again. Only 7 months later, Bibian won gold at the Dutch Able-Bodied Championships. And when the cancer came back again and again and again, and the specialist kept telling her what was not possible, Bibian was always focused on what was possible. She got snowboarding in the Paralympic agenda. She won 128 gold medals, wrote 3 books, climbed the Alpe d'Huez 4 times on 1 day, and started the Mentelity Foundation. And that's just a small part of the list. Finally, after 9.5 hours, my phone rings and I pick up the phone. And a voice at the other end says, "Good news. Operation succeeded." Beautiful necklace, isn't it? 2 months later, I'm standing next to Bibian at the starting gate of the banquet slalom in Korea. And 3 days before, Bibian won gold at the border cross. But today, she's not at her best. During training, she crashed on her neck, and this is making her holding back. And I know that if she does not step up her game, she will finish 3rd. So just before the final, as a coach, I went over to her and I whisper in her ear, "Bib, this will most probably be your last run. Forget about your crash. Forget about the race and just enjoy the ride." So 3 seconds later, she's standing in the gate, she pulls out of the gate, and she's going smoothly through the start section. I see a smile on her face, and Bibian is on fire. And this time, she's riding without any hesitation. And I can tell you, she's enjoying her run, and when she passes the finish line, I look at the scoring board and see that she's 3 seconds ahead the rest. Still gives me goosebumps. The next day, during the medal ceremony, I carry a newspaper with the headline, "She did it again," referring to the gold medals, but also referring to her fight against cancer. And what people didn't know is that we already knew that there were some new spots growing in her lungs. Now, back in Holland, Bibian was elected Sportswoman of the Year, Toughest Woman of the Netherlands, and a journalist working for the New York Times even called her one of the most inspiring persons on the planet. At that time, we often got the question, how can you stay so positive despite everything what's happening? What's your magic? Well, let's see if we can answer that question. In the 20 years we worked and lived together, we lived by 5 very simple rules. And now I want all of you to focus, because these 5 simple rules will help you to become better leaders. Rule number 1, focus on the possibilities instead of the disabilities. I carry a tattoo, Amor Fati, which reminds me to embrace my fate, good or bad. Bibian often even said that cancer brought her many good things. And this may sound like a paradox, but we truly believe that if you live in the past and are consumed by regrets, you will miss out on the beauty of the present moment. Like during COVID, most people only saw limitations, but some leaders were able to see new possibilities. Now, rule number 2. You always have a choice. It's easy to be happy when everything goes well, but you can choose to be happy when your world is upside down. Life's not easy. Life can be scary. And it's okay to cry, but don't let yourself be consumed by negative feelings. Every time the cancer came back, of course we felt anger, frustration, and despair. But we also knew that the sooner we would surrender to what was true, the sooner we were able to enjoy life again. Rule number 3 is one of my favorites. Behave like an ostrich. Stick your head in the ground from time to time, because it's not going to solve anything, but at least gives you the possibility to have some fun. People asked us, how can you stay happy when death is standing at your doorstep? Well, I have bad news for you, because death is sitting next to everybody. In Europe alone, 5,000 perfectly healthy people wake up but don't make it until the end of the day. That's 150,000 people a month, 1.8 million people a year. So we knew that worrying would not cure Bibian her cancer. And if we took it week by week, she was more likely to die in a car accident or a heart attack, just like all the rest of us. Rule number 4, collect memories and don't waste your time on chasing possessions. Like the old Greek already said, that happiness cannot be found in material things, but rather in how we live our lives. And I can promise you that in the last week before Bibian died, we never talked about our house or the cars he was driving. We talked for hours and hours about our children, the work we do in our foundation, and the beautiful memories we collected. Now, rule number 5. Let's hear what Bibian has to say.
Stop dreaming and always keep following your passion. Because I truly believe that if you keep following your passion, you automatically become the best version of yourself, which means the best partner, the best friend, and the best mother. This coming Monday, I'll have to go to the hospital again. And I already know that there's some spots growing in my lungs again. And we'll have to see what we can do about this. But you know what? Tomorrow morning, I'll be taking off, flying to Barcelona, and I'll eat tapas, I'll drink wine, I'll dance, I'll make love to my husband, because life's not measured by how many breaths we take. No, it's about the moments that take our breath away. Thank you very much.
It was a beautiful weekend. I still remember that one. That Monday, we were walking through the streets of Leiden, and the sun was shining, but I did not care, because we just found out that the cancer was not only in her lungs, it found its way into her brains. 7 weeks later, on March 29, 2021, I was holding Bibiane's hand when she passed away with a satisfied smile on her face. She was 40 years old, but we lived like 100 years. We spent thousands of anxious hours in the hospital, but we lived 1 billion extra heartbeats full of passion for life. So back to the question, what's the magic? Well, I've got bad news for you. There is no magic. But I also got good news. There is no magic. Bibiane was just a living proof that you can always stay happy and positive no matter what. And if she can do it, we all can do it. So instead of chasing possessions, I decided to stop all my commercial business and become the full-time director of the Mentelity Foundation. We help children with a physical disability, and due to our work, hundreds of disabled children, disabled families are now re-abled and live life to the max. I'm happy. I'm truly happy. And I'm happy in love. I'm a father of 5 beautiful children. I earn less money, but I feel far more successful because I follow my passion and I have leadership over my own life. Today I shared our story, and I leave you with a question and a challenge. What makes you happy? Make a choice. Start following your passion and become the best version of yourself, because that will automatically make you the best leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edwin, for that incredibly inspiring speech. Thank you ever so much. And we feel very much for your loss. But also, we feel very much inspired by your talk. We didn't get a question from the jury, but I'd like to ask you a question, if I may. Of these 5 rules, all of which are inspiring, but one I have a personal problem with is this, behave like an ostrich. Could you give me rules inside of the rule? I have a hard time doing that. I know how important it is to be able to just go in, dig in, enjoy life, and exclude other things. Could you give me some insight on how to do that better? I have a hard time doing that.
Well, I'm born like a positive person. I don't see many bumps on the road. But what I learned from Bibiane in our life together is that I remember that in May 2015, when she was given up for the first time, and the doctors told her to go home and tell our children that she was going to die. We went home, and Bibiane told our children, I'm probably going to die, but worrying about going to die will not solve our problem. So I want you all to come out tonight for a nice dinner. And we went out for a dinner, and she told us that thinking about the fact that she would die would only make us sad. We had a beautiful evening. When we went home, I was still worrying. I've been looking over the internet. I was not at that stage of acting like an ostrich. But Bibiane slept very, very well. And the next morning, she told me that acting like an ostrich is not saying that you don't know what's happening. It's just pass it next to you and focus on the nice things. And she learned it to me. And for you, in the future, think about it, that she lived another 6 years. So if we would have been sad and worrying all the time, we would have been worrying for 6 years. So the idea of sticking your head in the ground is not ignoring the problem. You can handle it the next morning, but it's really Like training, pass it outside. People know when they're playing sports, it's easy. But you need to learn it, like to do it also when you're sitting on a couch next to your loved ones and focus on the beautiful things.
Thank you ever so much, Edwin, for that great insight. I will do that better because of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.